In this video lecture, going to be talk about memory management schemes to efficiently handle the main memory where jobs are going to be placed over there. Here we can have a presentation flow, that is a memory management unit. The topic is going to be discussed. We are going to be talk about the background, necessary concepts or necessary the background which will be supporting for this memory management, and after that we are going to be discuss about swapping. The swapping will going to be discuss. So when the process are waiting for some other resource, during that time it is better to shift over to the other memory called backstore, from processor, from main memory to backstore. Whenever that it acquire the relevant resource which was in waiting stage actually, so then you can call back them and resume their operation execution. So in that swapping concepts will be good to discuss. Contiguous memory allocation and non-contiguous memory allocation, and also that is going to be discuss static as well as the dynamic memory allocation, and going to be the problems lead to the fragmentations. So that external fragmentation and internal fragmentation going to be discussed. So background we will see that the program must be bring into memory within the process to be run, where it is to be run, right? So that respective process has to be bring to the memory, so not to execute. So main memory and registers are only a storage CPU can access directly. This main memory and registers are handy to the CPU, and memory unit only observes streams of addresses. Additionally, read the request or addresses, also data and write request. The register access one that is a CPU clocks or less, that is in a one clock will be happen. Main memory can take many cycles, causing that memory stall may be there, memory contention may be there. So it need a many cycles. Otherwise, which are available in register, that only one cycle is enough for the CPU. Cache memory, which sit in between the main memory and secondary memory, which between the CPU and main memory, in order to adjust the size gap, speed gap between the processor and the main memory. So that is a cache will be act as an intermediate between the CPU and main memory. So protection of memory essentially to ensure the correct operation. The protection is essential. So after discussing this background, let me commence the actual memory partition or memory manage. So here memory manage, we need a two registers are there. One is a base register and other was a limit register. So a pair of registers which will be define the logical address space. So CPU must check every memory access generated using mode to be sure it is between the base and limit of that user, for the user, that is. So for example, you can see operating system and several processes going to be occupied on the memory. So that that address of the memory from 0 to 2,56,000 location, and next we have 30040 and 420940 location, and 88 finally 102 4000, right? So this is a memory locations. So here processor will be sit in the first, let processor 3, so on, that n number of processes going to be accommodated in the main memory, where it lead by the operating system. For example, the second process, what we say, so the base address is 30040, so that is 30,040 base, and the limit is 12,900, right? So base plus limit will become the target end address. So that hardware address protection, you can see that CPU have address, it release some addresses, so there is a base address will be there. So the address is greater than the base, then we can have a add base plus limit. So base plus limit will become actual physical address. So this total is base is less than base plus, obviously that is going to be point out in the physical memory. So here otherwise in the no case, which is greater than, here less than, then trap, that interrupt will be to operating system, monitor the there is a error, right? So the way of computing the physical address, in the subsequent slide we will go to discuss in more detail with the more example. So physical logical address will be generated by CPU and is going to be compared with the base and base limit. After satisfying that condition, it will go to be added and finally compute the physical address, where the locations will be identified in the memory. So the binding, we can see the address binding. So programs on disk ready to be brought into memory to run, to execute from input queue. So that program on the disk, so without support must loaded into address 000. So this no address will be there. There is 000 address. So inconvenient have observed the process physical address always at 000 physical address. So how it is possible? So the further address represented in a different way at a different stage of the program's life. So source code address usually symbolic. The source code address is just symbolic, but actually that will be physical address will be different. Compiled code address bind to relocatable address. For example, 14 bytes from beginning of this module. For example, so linker or loader will bind relocatable address to absolute address. So that is 74,014, that is 14 byte will be relocatable, that is. So linker and loader will be bind relocatable address to absolute address. So it is a portable, it relocatable means it may be going to be run in several systems. So from their point it will be the relocatable address will be computed. So each binding maps one address space to another. So instruction and data memory binding instruction. So address binding of instruction and data to memory, it can happen in 3 stages. So address and data binding, instruction and data addresses binding happen in 3 stages. So the first stage we will call it as a compile time. What is compile time? If memory location known prior, memory location known in advance, that is it happened during compile time, absolute code can be generated. Must recompile code if starting location changes. So it going to be changes the starting location, then absolute code will be generated. So otherwise the memory location known as a prior, in that case compile time we can have that. Load time must generate a relocatable code. Load time must compute the relocatable code if memory location is not known at compile time. If in advance it is not known, so must generate the relocatable code. So that will be come under the category of load time. So the finally we have execution time. Binding delayed until run if the process can be switch over to execution from one segment to another, one memory to another. So that binding delayed that during execution time it moved to one memory partition to other memory partition, or one segment to other segment. So additional hardware support essential that helps to address map. Example, base and limit registers are there. With help of them, it going to be compute the physical address, that is where that is where it is placed in the partition, where it is placed in the memory segment. So in other way, you can see this in the multi-step processing of the user program, this binding of instruction. So that the source program is there, it compiled and or assembled, or compile or assembled, it will be become object code. So object code is there. So after compiling your inputted program, and this compilation will say compile time. Memory location known prior, no? This absolute code can be generated, must be recompiled if code static location changes. So we can have, after getting a offset code, then we need to be link some of the library files, other object modules are there, so that we need to be link, establish the link. So those also coming to participate in when going to be execute this program. So now it is generating offset code. So let we generate the exe code. So before generating exe code, other necessary files we need to be include. Include, we can say link them. Other object model will should be link them. So after linking them, then we have to load them. So linking means just their address are incorporated in a program. So loading means that physical that whatever those codes are there, so those code need to be bring and attached to this program which we have commented here. So that loader will be there. Once it is system library files will be loaded, where included, that is linked. So this linking and loading together will call it as a load time. So must be generated relocatable code, no? That relocatable, because that so the library files or whatever link that is maybe somewhere. So now we have to be ask them to join with this program, and for them we have to provide a space. So that relocatable code, relocatable space we need to be provide. So in memory, binary memory image will be there. So that is exe file. We will call it as several apps in our mobile device, several icons in the laptop or desktop, right? So those are executable. So that will be execute, that is. So a dynamically loaded system. So that dynamic linking will be there. That so this entire will be amount duration we call it as execution. That is a runtime, right? So this here during loading, that is a dynamic or static loading. So their addresses will be there. So that CPU generates the physical virtual address or logical address. So this logical address will be converted into physical address. So physical address will be actual place of that code which will be reside in the memory. So let we see in that direction. So this concept of logical address space which is bound to be separate physical address space is central to proper memory management. So that is it is a separate that is. So logical address generates by CPU, also we call it as a virtual address, logical or virtual address. Physical address will be computed by this memory management unit. So address seen by the memory management unit, and it will be point to the memory. So assume example, CPU generates the logical address 346 logical address. So once the logical address is there, then the relocation registers will be there. It have a base address 14,000. So the memory management will be there. So base from 14,000. So this 14,000 will be get added to 346 and physical address become 14,346. This location will be going to be pointed at the memory. So exactly. So what are the component exist in that location, that going to be retrieved, and that is the intention behind the CPU to bring out the instruction or data which is reside in the memory. Here that roll up logical address and physical address. So logical address will be generated by CPU, and memory management will compute the appropriate physical address. From that address, that pointer will go to the corresponding memory location and bring out the whatever instructions or data reside in that location. So this addresses of logical and physical are the same in compile time. So we have seen that compile time, loading time and execution time. During compile time and load time, this logical and physical address will be similar. Address binding same schemes will be there. So logical address and physical address will be changed during execution time. So that binding relocation will be there. So that change the addresses. So the logical address space is the set of all logical address generated by the program. So the physical address space is a set of all physical address generated by the program. So memory management unit continuation, that hardware you can see. So that device that run the time maps to virtual physical address. A scheme of relocation register is included. So compute the address by a user process at the time it sent to memory. So that will be with the scheme it will going to be compute. So base register called relocation register. So base register we have seen. So that is called relocation register. So we have a for example MS-DOS, Microsoft Disk Operating System Intel 8086 used 4 relocation registers. 4 relocation registers they are going to be exercised. So the user program deals with the logical address. It never sees the real physical address. User will not worry about the physical address. He is only logical address released by the CPU, and it internally computed corresponding physical address and will point out. The execution time binding occurs when the reference is made to location memory. So that logical address bound to physical address. So the dynamic location using a relocation register. So routine is not loaded until it is called. So the dynamically, that unless call, it never load. So better memory space utilization. Unused routine is never loaded. So all routines kept on the disk in a relocatable load format. So dynamical relocation happen, they are get ready in the load format. So large amount of code are needed to handle the infrequently occurring cases. So huge memory is essential. So there are some infrequent occurrence of cases will be there. So that more memory is essential. So no special support from the operating system is required. Only the abundant memory is should be make available. Implemented through a program design. So this can be design program design. Operating system can help by providing libraries to implement a dynamic loading. So that the dynamic loading will be there. So here we can have again the previous example we seen that 346 will be there. So that memory this logical address will be going to be added with the physical address. That does by the memory management unit. So computed that is, and going to be computed, and 14,346 will be there, and physical address and memory. So further linking, that static linking also possible. So in that case what will happen, system libraries and program code combined to the loader into binary program image. So the dynamic linking is a postponed until execution time. So linking will be postponed, it happened during execution time, whereas here static will be combined in the loading time. So that is a difference we can observe. Small piece of code called during dynamic linking, small piece of code called stub used to locate the appropriate memory resident library routines. So stub will be help to locate that library functions. So the stub replaces itself with the address of the routine and executes the routine, that is. So it checks if routine is in the processor's memory address, right? Is in processor's memory addresses. If not address space, if not in address space, add a address space. So it is in the memory address space, okay. Otherwise, it add a address space. So dynamic linking is particularly useful help for the library functions. For example, include IO dot stdio, math.h, and some of the conio.h. Some of the library functions may be familiar in the programming called C programming language. There dynamic linking will be the library files will be linked, will be happen. System also known as shared libraries. So also sometimes shared libraries. So consider applicability to patching system libraries. So it's applicable to patching system libraries. So versioning may be needed. So that will be dynamic linking continuation. Let me see one example. So let assume that source program foo.c user has entered. foo.c is a source program. So it includes the some subroutine and data something is there. So that entire will be compiled. So after successful compile, we will going to be generate some the object code. So main sub1 data, and there is object module foo.o will be create. So here we need to be link some library files, so which may be stdio, that printf and scanf. So that can be open, that static library files. So that static one linkage editor will be linking of those editors will be happening here. Once it is linked, that loading will be there. So load module. So main sub1 data printf, all this will be included, and it become a object, that exe file, near to exe file. So when run, that loader will be bring, that is. So this will become entire duration, we'll put it in the basket called load time. So before the load time, it will called as a compile time. So now in the end stage will be execution. So that execution time, it will be main subroutine data printf, and all the system calls will be there in memory. So that going to be kernel. So going to be kernel system calls, kernel related. We have to take the permission. So they are in the premises of the kernel. So this memory will be contains the many other programs. So one program which we have now, we are related to sub1. Similarly, other programs may be also possible in the main memory. So continuation of this linking. So linking postpone until execution time in dynamic linking, which does not happen in static linking. In the static linking, it happen in the load time itself. So a small piece of code, that is called stub, used to locate the appropriate memory resident library routine. So here we have a stub is there. So stub we have a stub that dl open, that library file. So then we have a disim stub ff file open will be there, and it will be stub will be going to that memory. So there is a main stub di open, that will be computed. It will be linked to here, and there is a external help, one more routine, and that is going to be bring into this library. So that dynamic linking which will happen. So stub replaces itself with the address. Stub replaces itself with the addresses, the routine, and executes the routine, that is. So coming to the swapping, after discussing static and dynamic linking, so we can have a swapping. This is a normal process which happen most of the time when the processor is in busy waiting. process waiting for some resource which becoming very late or occupied by somebody. So in that case, rather waiting in the queue, they can put it in some safe place called that is a backstore. So process can be swapped temporarily out of the memory to backing store. So backing store is a special memory. There safely this process which is partially executed, so that we can keep till they get their waiting resource, then brought back into memory for continuation of the remaining portion of execution. Total physical memory space of process can exceed the physical memory. Here backing store, we know that what is that, it is a fast disk large enough to accommodate all copies of this kind of processors or images which are waiting for some resource, must provide a direct access to these memory images. So here we can roll out and roll in. Swapping variant use priority based scheduling algorithm. So lower priority process is swapped out to higher priority process can load it to execute. So that lower priority process is waiting for some resource which is occupied by the higher priority. In that case it takes more time, so that's why a certain amount of time you can keep it aside in the back store, that is a swapping. So that can be performed roll out and roll in. So when it is acquired those resources, it can give a chance to resume the operation. Major part of the swap time is transfer time. So it can transfer from main memory to backing store and backing store's memory. So total transfer time is directly proportional to the amount of memory swapped, that is. Continuation of swapping. So further more information, system maintains a ready queue of to ready to run process which have memory images on disk. So does the swapping out process need to swap back in the same physical address? So depends on the address binding method. So plus consider the pending IOs to and from process memory space. Right. So modify the versions of are there in Linux and Windows operating system. Swapping will be increased. This swapping privilege normally disabled. So the started if more than threshold amount of memory allocated, then the swapping will be take place. Disable again when some memory demand reduce the below threshold. So swapping mechanism, we can see there is a main memory which contains the operating system and various process. So here user space, in the user space several process will be there. So moving a process between the main memory and backing store will happen based on the priority, based on the process waiting for some resource which may not come in within the time, within the threshold time, within the waiting time. So in that case, rather waiting or occupying this memory space, so keep it aside some time till get some their waiting resource. So the backing store is a special memory, it can directly access. So there is a fast disk, is a big enough to hold all users copies and direct accessible this backing store, provide the privileges. And here the process P1 and process P2 is there. So this process P2 can welcome into the memory because it earlier it is swapped out. Now we can swap it in because process 2 was waiting for resource. Assume that process 2 waiting for some resource, those resource got now or it acquire that priority also. So now we can swap in and ask them to continue their execution previously stopped, that is. So that is a swapped in. Similarly, so this desire process swapped in the desire, there are several processes are there which will be in the queue, so that directly you can access them. So swapped out whenever the process which waiting for some resource which may become late or busy waiting, or that process may have low priority, and the process is waiting some resource which is occupied by higher priority process. So in that case obviously it has to keep it aside in the backing store, that is a swapped out. So ready process, but there is image neither in a main memory nor in a backing store. So ready process which is there in the queue, so they are in the neither here nor there. So context switch will be happening between this swapping. If next process to be put on the CPU, is not in the main memory, so they need to be swapped out process and swap in a target process. So put in the CPU is not in the memory, then we need to be swapped out. So context switch time can be it varies. It depends upon the size of the amount we have swapping and swapped out. 100 MB process swapping to hard disk with a transfer rate of 50 MB per second. So swapped out time to 2000 millisecond. So and plus swap ins same size process, that is also additional. Total context switch, that is become 4000 millisecond, approximately 4 seconds will be required. So for having this certain length of the swapping component, Japan total time in and out will become 4 seconds, for example. So it reduces the size of the memory swap, so that memory swap are going to be reduced, then this time will going to be reduced, knowing how much memory really being used. That is, the system calls are there for OS memory. It request memory and release memory. So via this swapping will be happening. The continuation that context switch in case of swapping, the other constraints are as well on swapping. So there is a pending IO, cannot swap out. So IO pending work is there. Such process we cannot swap. Let them complete, then we can swap out or swap in. IO would occur wrong process, right? So or always transfer IO to kernel space. So this can transfer to kernel space, put it in a very safe place in the kernel, then to IO device. If possibly want to put it into the swapping in the back store, so though have IO activities, such you can keep it in a kernel. So later when coming back, we can give it back. That is a safe locker. So that is known as a double buffering. So in such case, possibly if at all if we want to put some of the process into swapping, which may have some problems, or waiting for some resource which may have lower priority, and all those regions due to that inevitable, in that case though it have IO, we can keep it a kernel space and swapped out those process. So the double buffering. So standard swapping not used in a modern operating system. So modified versions common. So swap only when free memory externally low, that is low. So it also can see in the mobile systems, it not supported, typically not supported. There is a flash memory base, small amount of space is there, so limited number of write cycles will be there. So poor throughput between the flash memory and CPU on mobile platform. Instead use the other method to free modify if low. So for example, Apple operating system, that iOS ask apps to voluntarily relinquish the allocated memory, so that voluntarily they have to be released. So that provision is there in some of the mobile operating system. Read-only data thrown out and reloaded from a flash if this is necessary. Failure to free can result termination. So Android terminates apps if low free memory, but first writes application state to flash for fast restart. So both operating systems supports paging. So contiguous allocation. So contiguous allocation main memory supports both the operating system and the user process. So this contiguous memory. So limited resource must allocate efficiently. So that contiguous allocation will benefit in the case of this following, that both user and OS will benefited. So limited resource we can manage. So contiguous allocation is only old method. So main memory usually into two partition. So resident OS will be there, and usually held in a lower memory with the interrupt vector. So at top that OS will be there, and bottom user space will be there. In the user space there is a low memory with the interrupt vector will be provided. User process then held in a high memory. So each process comprises a single contiguous section of memory, single contiguous of section memory. So coming to this contiguous and non-contiguous allocation. Contiguous without overhead program will execute it. So that continuously provide the memory. So no overhead will be incurred. Non-contiguous address translation is overhead. So because the disjoint will be there. So that piece of separate multiple piece of memory is given. So their address we need to be compute, right? So that address translation is a overhead which is not there in a contiguous. Suffers from internal fragmentation. This will be disturbed by the internal internal fragmentation of this contiguous memory allocation. Where here non-contiguous paging technique will be there, it will be going to be discussed subsequent, but that will suffer from internal fragmentation. So here wastage of memory possibility is there in contiguous. So here no wastage, all the piece of memory is combined logically and given into the process. So for example, you can see contiguous memory. So let's say this have process this, and it will be allocated in a contiguous manner. So here one for example this page 1, page 2, page 2, page 3, page like that is continuously provided in the memory blocks, right? So they are wastage of memory happen in some other case, but here this entire amount of memory related to this process, right? So that internal fragmentation will be there. So we have non-contiguous memory. For example, process P we have 2 kilobyte and 4 kilobyte is there. So 2 kilobyte is given here and 2 kilobyte is in between. There is a free space will be created. Free space will be happening. So that is not intentionally done. Maybe earlier when this process P came to for the memory, during that time this was the original situation, 2 KB here and 2 KB in between, somebody some other process using this memory. So that's why the fragments will be created, hole will be created. So that that paging address translation will be required. So contiguous allocate a single area of memory for process. Allocate single, here multiple more than one block, multiple area. So swapped in process placed in anywhere in the memory. So swapped in, so where swapped in placed in the original area here. So because it scattered, no, so when you swapped out or swapped in, that had to be placed in the original area. So fixed size partition in the case of contiguous. So contiguous is a variable size. So here you can say operating system program on 10 MB, free space will be there, right? The situation you can consider operating system at the top, program on 10 MB and remaining is a free space. And coming to program 2 has arrived now. So after program 1, program 2 came with the size of 15 MB. So 15 MB allocated, immediately this program 1 contiguous. Na? So there is a free space, earlier was there more, now it will be got reduced. So program 1 and program 2 has occupied. So let program 3 has come, right? Program 1 10 and program 2 15 MB earlier. Program 3 is 12 MB now, right? So further this free space got reduced, right? 3 programs have occupied, so contiguously, that is a fixed size partition. So coming to non-contiguous, no? So there is a operating system program on 10 MB, free space will be there, this first example. So now, so program 2 has come with a 15 MB. So it is allocated not immediately program 1, it is after some space program 2 has occupied, allocated. So there is a free space will be created. Free space here also, Here contiguous only one free space, here multiple free space will be there in a non-contiguous, the example we followed. So that's hardware for this relocation. So relocation register used to protect the user process, so from each other, from changing OS code and data. So base register contains the value of the smallest physical address. So limit register contains the range of the logical addresses. So each range of logical address and each logical address must be less than the limit register we have seen in the previous slide. Again, we have seen the example of computation. So that logical address is less than the limit register will going to be map the logical address to physical address. So can then allow access such kernel code being transient and kernel changing the size, so that in no case it is interrupt error will be there. Otherwise this will be added, relocation register will be added, so that limit plus base register will be completely provide the information for physical address. So physical address will be there. So there is a multiple partition allocation. So degree of programming will be limited by number of partition. So variable partition size for efficient size to given process needs. So here that OS we have process 5, 8 and 2 for example. So here whole block, that is a whole is a free space. So block of available memory, holes varies size is scattered throughout the memory. So it happened during a non-contiguous memory allocation. So here we have OS process 5 is there and process 8 is vacated. So due to this it swapped out or sent out or completed its job. So now space is created. So that is called a hole, HOLE. When a process arrives, it is allocated memory from the hole large enough to accommodate it. So when some process comes, process 9 comes, right? So then it can accommodate here. Then we have free space we can observe. So process exiting free its partition, adjacent free partitions are combined, right? So OS maintains the information about allocated partitions and free partitions. So allocated are this occupied process 5, process 8, process 2 example. Free partitions are here, free space will be there. So that is called whole. So here process 10 came and it got allocated. So here dynamic storage allocation, it satisfies the request size n from the list of free holes. So how satisfy the size n from a list of free holes? The n size came with the request. So how it will to be satisfy the list of the free holes? So for which there is algorithms they have, that is called first fit algorithm. So allocate the first hole that is big enough to allocate, big enough to occupy, right? So the first fit strategy, if certain memory space are there, so it comes and biggest one which is enough to accommodate such block going to be allocated. So other one we have best fit, allocate the exact one, smallest hole that is big enough to must search entire list unless ordered by the size. It puts the smallest leftover holes, that is the smallest leftover holes, the best fit will going to be algorithm going to be exercised. Worst fit, allocate the largest hole, right? So the here the smallest hole, here is the largest hole. So here is the average, first fit is the first one. Worst fit will be largest hole, produces the largest leftover hole. So the first fit and best fit better than the worst fit, right, in terms of the speed and storage utilization. So worst fit will going to be occupy large amount of memory. So this fixing of putting this process into the memory, there is a hole will be created, free space will be created. So that whole space will be created within a fragment or outside the fragment. So within a fragment, that is internal and external fragmentation. So external fragment, total memory space exists to satisfy a request. So here, but it is not contiguous. So that what is that, external fragmentation is not contiguous, which happen due to non-contiguous contiguous allocation. So internal fragmentation allocates a memory maybe slightly request memory, that is slightly greater than the requested memory. So that internal this one. This size difference in difference is a memory internal is a memory internal to partition but not being used, that is it is a memory internal not being used, that is. So first bit analysis reveals that n blocks allocates the 0.5 n blocks lost to fragmentation, 50% of the blocks lost to fragmentation, one third may be unusable, which is greater than the 50% rule. So for example you can see, so the before and after the due to this internal fragmentation will be happening. Let me discuss in detail in subsequent. Here we can see the example of external fragmentation: operating system process 0, process 6, process 2, process 5, process 4. So which are external fragmentation, which have process 0 have a small space, process 6 we have small space, process 2 have, process 5 also, process 4 also have a small free space will be there, that external fragmentation. For example, process 7 comes, there is enough memory to run a process 7, but the memory is not contiguous. Suppose here free space, here free space, so there is a 5 chunks of free space are there. For example, process 7 comes with some size, then even though they have available memories equivalent of that process 7 memory is available, but it is scattered, it is not in a contiguous, right. So that going to be what is called dynamic partitions will be there. So internal and external fragmentation, let me see one more example. So operating system program 1 24 MB, there is a free space, and program n 40 MB, and this happened before, and after here we can see operating system program 1 24 MB, program 4 30 MB. That was a fragment was there 32 MB. So new program comes with the 30 MB. So we can allocate them, and remaining 2 memory is a free space. So this become internal to this this fragment. So internal to this fragment. So that free space was 32 MB gag that entire memory. So out of which 30 MB is given to program 4 and 2 MB remain, that become an internal fragment for this 32 MB free space which was there. It become now fragment, that is a free space. So external fragmentation, let me consider example. Operating system program 1 there is a program n, there is a 2 free space are there, 32 MB and 20 MB. So the new program comes, so it have a size of 52, right. So this both we can logically combine, virtually combine, and we can allocate them. So that is a external fragmentation. So these two are the external fragmented. So those external fragmented we can combine and give it to be program 9.1 that need a 52 MB. So more about internal and external. Internal fragmentation is larger than the need. Internal fragmentation is larger than the necessary. So external fragmentation need enough memory, more memory is required. So the fast bit and best bit will not suffer from this internal fragmentation. So the first bit and best bit will suffer from the external fragmentation. So the system with the fixed size allocate a single partition suffer. This single partitions suffer from the this internal fragmentation, where you can see that the system with variable size allocates suffers. So variable size process will come, then definitely will be suffers from the external fragmentation. So again the example, consider job A, B, C, job A, job C, job F, 3 jobs are there, and here you can see the blue one will indicates the internal fragmentation, blue one will indicates the internal fragmentation, and orange color will indicate the external fragmentation. So external means it is outside this job A, no? So outside this job A. So internal means it is inside the job, So that external fragmentation and internal fragmentation. So reduce the compaction, the compaction, we can combine the too many free space are there in the memory and give it to that compaction, reduce the external fragmentation by compaction, can compact them. So shuffle memory contents to place all free memory together in one large block. So compaction is possible only if relocation is dynamic and is done in a execution time. So IO problems are there. Latch this job in memory while it is involved in IO. So do IO only into OS buffers, that kernel takes some responsibility, hand out to the kernel, so they will do that. They have. Now consider that backing store has the same fragmentation problem. Backing store we consider seen that in a swapping case, no, swapping that special memory, fast memory, direct access memory, it also suffers the problem called fragmentation. So dynamic allocations, we can see more about this. Example, there is a 16 MB kernel, that is a OS, and free space is a 48 MB. So now program 1 came with a 16 MB, right? So give them, so remaining 32 MB. Program 2 comes 10 MB, so can contiguous to program 1 10 MB, free space will 22 MB. So consider free space coming to reducing 48 to 32 as a process come with their demands. So we have program 1, program 2, program 3 came with 8 MB, right? So free space we can provide. So the free space will become 14 MB. So we have next program 4 come with 12 MB, right? So earlier is 14, we can allocate them. Now 2 MB remaining free space. So we can have kernel 16 MB. So we can have, what is that, program 4 and program 3, right? Program 1 5, program 5 came here, right? So it is a 7 MB, 7 MB. The free space will be 3 MB. So 3 MB, program 3 8 MB, program 4 12 MB. There is 2 holes created, free space of 3 MB and free space of 2 MB. Total 5 MB will get if you go for compaction. Otherwise 2 holes will be there, that free space. So example for fragmentation, can see the problems. So let consider the given memory of 100 kilobyte and 500 kilobyte, 200 kilobyte, 300 kilobyte and 600 kilobyte in order, right? So in order it is given, that is. So how would be this first bit partition, dynamic partition, best bit and worst bit algorithm responses for the 212K, 412K, 112K and 426K of jobs arrive in order, right? So this is a memory given and these are the jobs arrive with their demands. How first bit computed, best bit and worst bit will be computed, we will see that, right? Which algorithm makes the most efficient use of the memory. So I hope this problem we can repeat. So memory 100, 500, 200, 300 and 600 memory fragments are given, segment fragments are given, and jobs are 212 and this, and with the 3 algorithms we can compute how efficiently this use this, which algorithm is supreme. So let's say first bit, best bit and worst bit algorithm. So the first bit, let consider 212K job arrives. So we can put it into the where it is suitable, it is not suitable in 100. So first bit, no, so it's suitable in 500. Okay, put it in 500, right? Because 100 may be lesser than 212. So next job will be 412. So 412 where we can put it in a 600 because 200 and 300 are lesser. So 600 is very compatible. So 2 jobs, 212 and 412 we place there, 17 we place there, that is in 500 kilobyte of fragment and 600 kilobyte of partition. In this partition we place, that is. Next 112 job arrives. So where we can put this, we can put it in a 288K. 288K is not there, but here 600 is there, no? 600 will be occupied by 412. Remaining will be how much? That is, sorry, 500. So 500 will be subtracted with 212. Remaining will be 288. So that is a first one. So here first block. So that 288k we can give to 112. So 426 here, no? 426 we don't have a space here. So even if we subtract this 600 minus 412, you won't get that much. So we can ask them to wait. So only 212 and 412, 17 and 112 are occupied. So 426 must wait in the first bit strategy, right? So coming to the best bit strategy. So 212 we can put it in 300, right? 200, no? So the best bit one, the smaller size hole, that is a 300. Put it in a 300k. Next one is a 412. So 412 we can put it obviously in 500. So the best bit, no? Best bit will be 500. So next one 112 we can put it in 200, no? 200. So 426 remaining is a 600, I think we can place there 600, right? So this is the best bit. So all jobs occupied, no waiting, no process are no jobs are waiting here. So coming to the worst bit, so 200 is the largest hole is a 600, that is going to be occupied. 417 going to be occupied, the next largest is a 500. 112 is a 388. How got 388? That 600 minus 212 remaining, that is, so there we can accommodate. So 426 must wait here. So which happen as same as first bit. So first bit and worst bit are the very difficult here, because they are waiting, make wait that process. So here the best bit is a good algorithm, so turn out to be best. So coming to this second example problem, we can see related to the memory partition. Here used and unused blocks are given. So further additional request 20k, 10k, 5k are received. So they are given a memory, and apart from that there is additional request comes 20, 10, 5k. At what starting address will each of the additional request be allocated for the following first bit and best bit and the algorithm. So let we see. So this is given. So here we can have 10k job, 20k, and the 10k, 30k, 10k, 20k. The textured is a occupied. That orange color is a light orange color is a free, holes are there, free space. This is free space, that is free space 5k, 20k. So these are free space, which is given. So now we can consider the additional request come 20k, 10k, 5k. So how we can perform with the algorithm best bit and first bit, right? So let me see the first bit 20k arrives. So 20k arrive, where we can give it, that is, so first bit 20k arrives. So we can give it here, that is a first bit. Now first bit 20k, here 10k, so free is 30k. Here we can give it, right? So the new jobs 20k and it given place here. So the remaining 10k is free space, right? So next, what is the demand? The 10k, no? So 10k we can give. Before allocating 10k, we can merge this use space. So that become, what is that, 40k. 20k plus 20k, so this become 40k. So 40 kilobyte. Here 10 kilobyte is free space is there, but here the next demand is 10k demand. So 10k demand we can give it there. So there. So after here you can give 10k, right? So that first one 10k given. So now it to combine this 10 plus 40, total 60k is occupied. So next maybe 5k demand is there. Third request is a 5k demand. So we can give here. So correct, that is the first, no? So 5k. So 5k remaining 5k is a free space. Okay, anyhow this we can merge 65k. 65k is occupied and 5k is a free space, like here 5k, 20k, 15k, 20k are remaining. So that completes the first bit. Next we can go for the best bit. So that is the first demand is a 20 kilobyte. So 20 kilobyte we can give it where here the exact matching was there. No? Earlier they given here since it was the first bit. So best bit the exact matching is there. There we given 20k. So that become 30 plus 20 plus 10, that total 60k continuously occupied by the process. So the second demand is 10k in case of best bit. So 10k is obviously more space are there, you can give it. So this become 40k. So this 20 plus 20 40k. So finally the 5k demand is there. So 5k we can give it to here here. No? So the 5k hole was there, free space. So you can give it. So altogether it becomes 75k. So from this problem we understood the concept of partition, dynamic partition actually. So that external fragmentation is more memory become more and more fragmented, and this memory utilization will be reduces. So compaction is the alternative one. So technique for overcome that external fragmentation. So OS shifts the process so that they are contiguous. So the free memory space together in a block. So time consuming, and it is a CPU time is wasting. So disadvantage of this program too big put into partition, needs design with the use of overlays. So main memory utilization is inefficient. Any program regardless size of the size occupies an entire partition. So internal fragmentation wastes space due to the block of data loaded being smaller than the partition. So number of partitions specified at a system generates time limits the number of active process in the system. More active process, the time will be more. Small job will not utilize the partition space efficiently. So coming to combine summaries that swapping, contiguous and non-contiguous memory, dynamic location, internal and external fragmentations, and this we collected from the book textbook Abram Silver Schatz et al. And other reference books also there. So thank you for patient listening and shown an interest on memory management part 1, that especially memory partition, dynamic static partition, fragmentation, and those are the concepts we discuss here as a part of the module 3. Thanks to coordinator and moderator and subject expert. Thank you one and all.